What's going on, everybody? What is going on? Hey, it's Cameron with Motion Science. Show off my shirt here. Cameron with Motion Science here to do a live with you guys. Let me know who's here. Let me know you can hear me okay. Who's here? Where are you at in the world? What's going on in your part of the world? For those of you who don't know me, I am Cameron Puron. I'm the guy behind Motion Science. I'm assuming that a lot of you know who I am because that's why you're here on the channel. Glad to have you here with me today. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Friday afternoon. It's a beautiful day here in Florida where I am based. Where are you at? Where are you at? Today I'm going to talk about some StyleCraft stuff and answer some questions for you if you have questions about motion design, motion graphics in general. That's what I'm here to do. And I'm just going to double check here really quickly that the comments are coming through. Let me check here. Okay, looks like they're coming through. Yeah, cool. Okay, so before I get to any questions or anything like that, or talk about StyleCraft, I want to know who's here and where you're from. So I know there's a few people here today from that are actually members of StyleCraft, members of Motion Science, members of the different courses I've got out there, and then some of you guys are new. So I don't do these YouTube lives very often with people outside of Motion Science, and I thought I'd just do one today to change it up a bit. It's always fun to talk to new people who haven't experienced motion science yet. So, yeah. Just for those of you who don't know, StyleCraft 2.0 was just announced yesterday, Monday. And if you followed motion science for any period of time over the last 3 years, you would know that StyleCraft has been my signature course that I offer on our website. And it's the course that I have put so much blood, sweat, and tears into, literally tears. I've cried over this course, trying to build it. And over the last 3 years, StyleCraft 1 has gone through iterations 1 to 1.1 to 1.2, 1.3, all the way up to 1.5. And that was the last version we did. And it used to be a year-long epic course. And I have reworked all of that. And I have revamped the entire course. I've re-recorded the entire course, condensed the entire course. I've condensed the best moments of the 52 weeks down to just 12 weeks. And I've repackaged that, rebuilt that into StyleCraft 2.0. So that's what I announced yesterday. If you're on the Motion Science mailing list, you would have gotten an email yesterday announcing that it's out, and I'm really excited about it. It's 52 weeks condensed down to 12 weeks, but it is intense 12 weeks. There's a lot of content. So before, in StyleCraft, the original, we would kind of space it out, and I'd give you a lot of time to kind of go through the material. And some people I'd actually kind of wander off and do their own things, but I wanted to just really condense it all, because some people, I found that they were afraid to take a year-long course because, like, oh my gosh, it's a year-long, that's a huge commitment, right? And it is a huge commitment. And bringing it down to 12 weeks really makes it so you can get in, learn what you need to learn, and move on and continue to up-level your skills. So that's the biggest thing, because people keep asking me, like, why did you take it from 52 weeks down to 12 weeks? That's why I did it, just to make it a more compact course, to also make it more affordable. So I also dropped the price from the original StyleCraft 1, which we had hundreds of people go through. And I really wanted to open the doors up to even more people to come through it. So did that. And I'm really, really excited about it. So we have registration open up for the next 2 weeks. It closes on April 18th. And at that point, you can't enroll in StyleCraft again until we decide to open it back up again. So what's going on? I see a few more people here that I recognize. What's going on, Kermit? Kermit's a member of the original StyleCraft. Hey, Constantine. Uzair. Rohit, I believe. I'm terrible with pronouncing names. Sorry about that, guys. Something I've never been good at, and probably never will be good at. But hey, at least I'm honest about it. Black Smoke Productions. Hey, Alessandro. Alessandro is a member of StyleCraft. And the name below, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name below, but welcome to the Q&A and the StyleCraft announcement. I'm glad to have you here. What else can I tell you guys about StyleCraft? Why I'm really excited about it. Let me see here. Actually, let me tell you a little bit about me. I've got a couple notes here. So some of you guys don't know a whole lot about me, and I want to tell you a little bit more about me so you can just kind of understand where I'm coming from. Back in the day, I was a freelancer, and I've phased out. I have phased out of freelancing. I've moved into motion science full time, and that's it's been a blessing, and it's also been something that it's kind of sad to move out of the freelancing world, honestly. But I'm really happy to be doing motion science full time, and it's allowed me to really create more of the work that I want to create and to teach everybody the skills I know. So I've been a motion designer for over 20 years. I started doing After Effects back in about 2000, kind of playing around with it back when it was After Effects version 3, and was just really blown away by it. Back then, I didn't have, YouTube didn't exist. There was very few books on After Effects, motion design, on 3D. There was a few books out there, a couple books that I got, but typically if you wanted to learn motion graphics, you had to teach yourself. So that's what I did. I taught myself how to create motion graphics. I taught myself After Effects, and I also taught myself a 3D program called Lite 3D. From there, I continued with After Effects. I moved into Maya, and then from Maya pivoted to Cinema 4D, and continued the entire time with After Effects. So I would consider myself a high-level master user of After Effects. I've worked with some very big clients through my time. I've worked for a couple production houses in the Midwest, and then I went freelance in 2007. And I went freelance in 2007 as a remote artist. This was something that very few people were doing. As we know today, most people are remote based, but back in 2007, that was a brand new thing. And I was fortunate enough to have a demo reel that I built myself from the content I created myself. I created a lot of spec work. I'm a huge fan of spec work. Okay, so I created spec work. I created pieces that I wanted to create, like logo animations and things like that. Built a reel, sent it out to Hollywood, and immediately got hired as a remote artist back in 2007. From then on, I worked for a lot of different clients. Just to name some off the top of my head, Xbox, Nike. Oh my gosh, there's a ton of them. I'm actually blanking. Sony, T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, the WWE Network, NBC, PGA, Garmin International, 343 Studios. I mean, I literally have a list this big. I should have probably pulled up the list to like name off these for you guys. But not to brag on who I've worked for, but I've had a lot of experience as a pro-level motion designer. Had a couple companies during that time as well, and I found that the reason I started motion science is that I found there was a gap between what people were learning in school and university and graduating and not actually understanding at that point. So I saw people go through these 4-year programs for motion graphics in the 2010s and come out and I was kind of blown away by what they didn't know about motion design. And because I was hiring some of these people, like I said, I had a couple small companies in the 2010s while I was also freelancing. So I would hire people to help me. And I was kind of blown away by what they didn't know. So the great resource out there has always been YouTube, right? You can go to YouTube, where we're at today. You can learn about motion graphics, but the process is very time consuming and it's a very tedious process. You can't go in to YouTube and follow a clear path on how to really level up your skills. You have to search out a video on a specific technique you're trying to learn. Then you have to look through a ton of different videos to find that technique. Maybe you'll find a good one. Maybe you won't. A lot of times I found a lot of just crap on there. And from that video, then you have to decide, okay, well, what should I be learning next? And you have to go find that video. And usually there's multiple videos you have to go through to really up level your skills in a specific area of motion design. So I decided to create Motion Science back in 2016, 2017 to really give people a clear path for creating high level, what I call cinematic motion design. So if you've seen any of the Motion Science work out there, and it's a lot of different social platforms, it's also on the website, motionscience.tv, you're going to see that what I consider motion graphics is a lot different than what a lot of other people consider motion graphics. Okay. I get asked a lot of times, like, what do you mean motion graphics is just vector-based design, animation? Well, in my opinion, no. You know, I have a lot of respect for the people that do that kind of work, but that's not what I do. I never do that kind of work. Okay. So sorry if you hear my dog here in the background. He's barking away. Motion design, motion graphics is a very, very broad category. I mean, we've got guys who do, like I said, the vector artwork. We've got infographics. We've got title design. We've got 3D animation. We've got more things on the visual side, visual effects side. We've got people who do logo animations, commercial work, film work. There's a lot, and there's more and more and more to just, you know, there's UX design. It's all motion design. So what I really try to teach is more of a cinematic side to motion graphics, where we use a lot of imagery, some assets created in Illustrator. Typically it's minimal, and we use very simplified camera moves, a lot of polish and finishing and effects to really bring things to life and make them look beautiful, right? I teach you how to create beautiful cinematic motion design. And I really do this in depth in my course for StyleCraft, which is now StyleCraft 2.0. So that's why I'm here today. StyleCraft 2.0 is now open for registration, and I want to see as many people enroll in the next 2 weeks as possible so that you can come in and I can teach you what I know and level up your skill set. So what else? We got to go back to the comments here and look at a few of these comments I've got. I also have a free, hey Artie, great to have you here. Artie says, just finished watching part 3 of the style sheets. Amazing, thank you. Great, thanks for watching it. If you don't know, I've got a free workshop out right now. It's on YouTube, it's on Instagram, it's on, what else? It's on my blog on motionscience.tv. It's a free workshop on how to design style frames. So it's been out. We released part 3 today. Part 2 and part 1 came out last week. And it's a little taste of what you learn in StyleCraft, right? I really focus in on the design side of things and the motion side of things. So again, there's other courses out there. What I see with these other courses is that they are typically a little bit more heavy on the technical side of things, which is great. And I teach a lot of technical as well. But in StyleCraft, what makes it different is that we focus in on not only the how, but also the why, right? Why do certain motion graphics work? Why do certain graphics not work? What makes a good motion design piece? What doesn't, right? There's all these different core elements and principles of what makes great motion design. And that's what I teach you in StyleCraft. We just really break it down. We study different motion design pieces, and then after we study them, I create something based on whatever we just studied, and I show you how easy it is to actually create high-level motion design, right? I'm all about the ease. I am not the guy who thinks that you have to spend 30 hours on a 5-second piece and if you don't spend 30 or more hours on it, that it's not going to be good, right? I'll never forget one time when I was freelancing. I had a visual motion designer hand me a project file that was literally over 100 layers. And what my job was to take this. I was known for kind of finishing. So a lot of times studios would hand me project files that other artists have created and say like, okay, it's 80% there, but we need you to take it the extra 20% and make it wow. Right? So that's what I did a lot of. And I'll never forget having this project file with over 100 layers in it and looking at it and just being like, why? Why is there 100 layers? I can tell by looking at this, there doesn't need to be 100 layers. Someone's creating this just to say like, wow, look at what I can do. I see motion artists brag about how many layers they're using. Now, sometimes we can get a lot of layers sometimes, but I took that 100 layers and I literally condensed it down to between 5 and 10 layers. And that was it. And it was the same piece, but it was even better, right? It was even more finished out. And the client saw it. They didn't care about the number of layers, but they saw the finished piece and they're like, wow, this is it, right? This is why we hired you. So I went on a tangent there, but I'm all about ease in motion design. How can you build, design, and animate a piece in the easiest way possible, but yet have it look amazing? So in 20 plus years of doing motion design and teaching myself everything I know and picking up tidbits from freelancers that I've worked with throughout the years, I've got the processes down. I know what it takes to get in there, get it done, and get out, right? I absolutely love creating motion design, but it is something that I don't want to overcomplicate it. And if there's a cheat to accomplish a certain technique or look in motion design, I'm going to show you how to do it. I also believe in plugins, right? I get asked all the time, well, you must have all these plugins. Well, no, I don't have all these plugins. I believe that every motion designer needs a handful of plugins that they're comfortable with and that they truly believe in. I don't buy every plugin on the market. One misconception I see all the time is that if I buy this one plugin and I put it on my work, it's going to make my work look amazing. And it doesn't. I'm sorry to say it doesn't. Plugins are there for two reasons. One reason is if you have a specific task that needs to happen, something technical needs to happen, and a plugin is made for that specifically. An example of this would be particle systems, right? If I have to use particle systems on a project, I'm going to use a plugin like Trapcode Particular, Stardust, something like that, particle illusions. Another reason to use a plugin would be like, for a technical reason, like maybe like Newton, right? Newton's I actually don't own Newton, but I've seen a lot of projects done with it where it uses gravity and physics, real world physics to create movement. That'd be a great example of getting a specific plugin for a specific purpose. Other than that, I use Vfx Sapphire and Red Giant. And specifically in Red Giant, I use the Universe plugins, the suite of Universe plugins. I do have all of their plugins, but Universe is a go-to for me. So I use those two sets of plugins because, and Vfx Sapphire is my absolute top. I've used it since 2007. Nothing compares to it. And it's used by every pro I know for finishing, right? It's just, you can come in, you can do certain looks at the end, and boom, you're done. Now, everything I teach in StyleCraft does not revolve around plugins. So let me be clear about that. And you guys are going to hear a wind blower or a guy blowing grass coming by my window here pretty soon. So please ignore that. It's probably going to get pretty loud. So I do teach specific plugins, but at the same time, I am not a person who pushes plugins on you. Because like I said, there's that misconception that if I get this Sapphire set of plugins, it's going to make my work look amazing, and that's not true. You have to learn how to get your motion design to a what I call like an 80% base level, 80 to 90%, right? You have to understand how to design, how to animate at a base level to get to 80 to 90% so that your work looks good, right? Our project's looking great. Now let's take it the extra 10 to 20%, what I call the polish. Some people call it the finish. That's where I typically come in with the plugins, put them over the top, put the icing on the cake, and we've got a beautiful finished motion piece. So some people come at me and say, well, you can't use a plugin because we're artists and we have to create everything ourselves. BS, right? Plugins are there for a specific reason to help save you time, right? Don't go out there and buy every plugin in the world, but do get a handful of plugins that pros use, and it'll save you tons of time. Time saver, time hack. Just a little side note, since I'm talking about plugins, Vfx Sapphire, inside of StyleCraft, you get 50% off the retail version of Sapphire. That's a huge deal because Sapphire isn't cheap, but as I said, it's worth every penny. Reading some of the comments here. Boy, oh boy, recently downloaded After Effects, now getting knowledge from different sources, found that your frames are more artistic and conceptual from all that I found on the net. Good stuff. Thank you, Constantine. I appreciate that. I agree with you. I think so too. I have a lot of confidence in what I teach because what I'm teaching, I don't see out there on other sites. There are a few other online programs out there that deliver high value. That I do highly respect what they do. And there's some other ones that I don't respect. I do respect them. I take that back. I do respect them. I just don't think that they're teaching at a high enough level. So what I teach you is how to conceptualize. That's a great, Constantine. I teach you, there's actually a specific section. Once you go through StyleCraft and you learn all these principles and elements of motion design, towards the end, you get to this point called the idea to execution. Okay, and I teach a little bit of this in the workshop that's out right now called How to Design Style Frames. Like I said, go watch it. It's free. It's on YouTube. It's on Instagram. Idea to execution. I go deep into how do you get what's inside your head? How do you get that onto the screen, right? How do you get that in note form? How do you figure out kind of like get your thoughts in order? And once you get your thoughts in order, how do you get those maybe in a written format, or you draw them out, you sketch them out, which I can't draw. I can't draw to save my life. I've never taken an art class in my life. Excuse me. Never taken an art class in my life. Can't draw to save my life. But I do know how to design in simplistic terms inside of After Effects. That's right. I said I do design inside of After Effects. I use Photoshop a little bit, but mostly design and animate in After Effects. How do you get that idea from your head into something that you can kind of, the thoughts can get, you can get those thoughts in order. You can actually start pulling inspiration sources for those thoughts, create style frames, create animation, and then finish or polish, as I like to call it. I teach you how to do all of that in StyleCraft. Skydiver, respect you from Belarus. Awesome, thank you. FireClan, is the 12-week course less content than the 52-week course, or is it just more condensed? It's a little bit of both. But I'll tell you why it's a little bit of both. That's a great question, FireClan. Thank you for asking that. We took the best content of our 52 weeks and we condensed it into 12 weeks. We also removed pieces of content from 52 weeks that just weren't working. It was too much. I am all about saving time. I mean, you all know we all have so much content out there to watch, right? Kudos to you guys for being here today watching what I'm talking about, because we are bombarded constantly with content on all these different social channels. Or maybe you signed up for a course and there's, one thing I can't stand is when a course says you get 50 hours of content, 100 hours of content. I mean, give me a break, guys. Who has 100 hours to sit there and take in all that content? You're not going to watch all 100 hours. And if you do, you're not going to remember what they said at hour 5. No, you're going to totally forget about it. You're going to be brain dead, right? And you're supposed to watch 100 hours of content plus take care of everything else in your life, plus look at study other things that interest you. That doesn't work. So I'm all about condensing and editing, and our lessons are edited. They're to the point. We remove all the fluff, and we have taken the best of our 52 weeks of content, the best. Some lessons just didn't work. They didn't stick. They weren't the right content. Some of the lessons could be combined, and that's what we did. The best of our 52 weeks, combined them, condensed them, reworked them, re-recorded everything. Well, I'm not gonna say everything. There are a few lessons from the original StyleCraft still in there because they were on point. But I would say 85% of the lessons have all been completely re-recorded. New lessons, even like new projects. This is not the stuff that maybe it's the same content, but different projects that we're building, different ways of teaching. I've learned a lot in the last 3 years since StyleCraft was released. I've learned what works and what doesn't work. And the culmination of this is what StyleCraft 2 is all about. I can't tell you how excited I am about StyleCraft 2. I mean, I'm pumped. I can't wait. The first class is going to start April 19th. We have a brand new community that I am so pumped about. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about the community really quickly here. So when I first started Motion Science, we were on a social media platform, and it was a little too distracting, right? Very distracting. So we moved off the social media platform. We brought the community in-house into Motion Science, and we used our own platform, and it worked, and it's worked for the past 2 years, but it just wasn't enough. There wasn't enough interactivity inside this community. So what we've done is we have hired a third-party company, and we have built a platform on this third-party company that I am so excited about. It's highly interactive. You're going to be able to interact with everyone inside the membership. It's just like Facebook, but without all the ads, without all of the distractions. This is just our private community for motion designers. So once you're in StyleCraft, you're in it for life. You've got the lessons for life, and you're in the community for life. So really excited about that. Some of you have seen the new community, some of you have not. Oh, so what else here? Manata? Forgive me if I said your name wrong, Manata. Hi, I'm taking ProFlows Plus. Thank you, Manata. ProFlows Plus, for those of you who don't know, is our membership where we teach specific techniques inside of motion design. So StyleCraft is there to teach you the how, the why, to really how to think like a creative motion designer, right? How to get that idea on the screen. And then kind of once you know that, ProFlows is there to teach you specific techniques. Considering StyleCraft, however, I'm not certain on becoming a motion graphic artist yet. So I'm going to tell you, Manata, if you're in ProFlows, you need to be in StyleCraft, okay? Because you've already jumped in to the specifics of the technical side of motion design, but you need to learn about the why, right? And more of the base level of the how. So Manata, even if you do not want to become a motion graphic artist as like a profession, I would highly recommend that you join StyleCraft. I've got a lot of professionals in StyleCraft, but I also have a lot of hobbyists. I have a lot of freelancers. I have a lot of video editors looking to improve their skill set. I have fine arts students. I have graphic designers who want to just learn more about the motion side of it. There's a lot of different types of people in StyleCraft. And I mean, I don't ever hear a bad thing about it. People love StyleCraft. I would highly recommend you join StyleCraft 2, and I would love to see you in it. All right, I gotta take a drink. We got a lot of questions here, a lot of comments. Thanks, guys. Appreciate the comments and the questions. Hi, Cameron. I'd really like to join your StyleCraft course. What software do I need to have just the Adobe Suite? ADHD Trader. Awesome. Okay, ADHD. I can't even say it. ADHD Trader. Yes, all you need is the Adobe Suite. Okay. That comes with After Effects, which we focus on 90% of the time. We also do some lessons with Cinema 4D Lite. Okay. Cinema 4D Lite comes with the Adobe CC subscription. A lot of people don't know that. I'm finding that more and more people are starting to realize that because it's been out for a few years now, several years. And it's funny because Cinema 4D Lite isn't listed as like a separate application. It's kind of buried inside of After Effects. And the only way you can open it, unless they've changed it recently, but the only way you could open it was through After Effects. So, yeah, you just need Adobe CC software. We're going to focus in on After Effects and Cinema 4D Lite. And again, just to reference the plugins, and there's an opening video when you join StyleCraft, there's a little welcome video, and I talk about plugins. You do not have to have Vfx Sapphire. You do not have to have Red Giant plugins, or any of the other plugins I may use. Like I use Deep Glow. I've really gotten into Deep Glow recently through AE Scripts. Is where you can buy it, but it's made by Plugin Everything, which is a great company you guys should check out, Plugin Everything. You don't have to have these plugins, okay? So like if I use a glow plugin from Deep Glow, you can still create a glow on the project that you're building with the After Effects built-in glow, right? I'm not a huge fan of the glow. And there's ways around the basic set of glows in After Effects, but you can use that. Or you can use any other third-party plugin for glow. Or you can download a demo of a plugin and use that for glow. A lot of plugins have 7 14-day trials. Some of them have 30-day trials. Some of them allow you just to use the plugin and it just puts maybe like a red X across the work. It's up to you. Everything that I teach, if I use a plugin, don't think you have to have that plugin. I'm just teaching you what a pro would use. And I try for the most part to stay away from a lot of plugins. Like I said, I build the majority of the project. 80%, 90% of the project is built without a plugin. It's just kind of finishing it off. I'll use plugins sometimes. Sometimes I'm using built-in plugins from After Effects. Sometimes I'm using a third-party plugin. Ed Martini, I am in. Awesome, Ed. I know Ed from Motion Science. Ed is one of our members. Good to see you here, Ed. Ed, I believe you're in ProFlows, correct? I believe you're in ProFlows. Sometimes I forget with so many members. And that's the other thing, guys, is I try to be very responsive to people. So I show up in the community. I'm there, talking amongst you guys. It's not just buy the course and I'm gone. No, I mean, I will be in there in the community and I love hanging out. So we also have some live calls that we do as part of StyleCraft, just like this, okay? We do I call them live coaching calls. I show up, here comes that blower again. He's coming right by my window. I show up and I answer your questions, just like this. You have a question about a specific lesson that you're going over, I'm going to answer that question. You have a question about motion design in general, I'm there to help you, kind of guide you through that process. And we also have a lot of high-level motion designers who have been inside of motion science, who assist me with a lot of things, and they are there in the community as well. And it's just a fun place to interact and get extra guidance and live coaching calls, community. You have support within the course. Quick question from Ed. By joining StyleCraft, does that give you automatic enrollment into the membership of Motion Science that will be rolled out soon? No. So Ed's talking about something that you guys aren't aware of that I've talked a little bit about with my groups inside of Motion Science. No, the membership is actually not even a membership. It's something totally different that we're going to roll out later this year. Something that's been totally delayed, but it's nothing to do with StyleCraft. The StyleCraft is a completely separate thing. There you go. Infinite Layers is disgusting. They teach that in photography school. There you go. I would agree. As a member of StyleCraft, can I access the new content of 2.0, or are they two separate things? So Alessandro is currently in StyleCraft 1.5. Alessandro, no, StyleCraft 2 is a completely different course. If you want to access the content of it, you will have to subscribe to course 2.0. Message me directly, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that. But definitely message me, Cameron@motionscience.tv. Andrew, will StyleCraft 2.0 be available again in the future after the current registration session ends? Yes, it will be available again in the future. At this time, we don't know when we're going to open up registration again, or I don't know. Sometimes I say we. I've got a couple people that help me in the background, but I don't know. Typically with StyleCraft 1, we would open up registration twice a year. It was typically in January and July. We've kind of been shifting things around. So at this point, I don't know when registration will open up again. And when it opens up again, there is a chance, I'm just gonna be honest with you guys, that the price is gonna be higher, right? This first group, you guys are coming through, and we just wanna get people in and get feedback and see what you guys think, which I know you're gonna love it. I absolutely know you're gonna love it. Anyone who's taken any motion science courses, you guys love the content I create. StyleCraft is absolutely no different. It's just, I'm raising the bar again. So no, I don't know when registration opens again, and there is a chance the price will go higher. FireClan, is it true you get a discount on the Sapphire plugins when you join StyleCraft? Yes. So I just talked about it a minute ago, but yes, when you join StyleCraft, you get 50% off Vfx Sapphire, the retail version. So that is a huge, huge deal. Vfx has two different avenues for getting the plugins. You can do a perpetual license. I can't remember the names, how they classify them, but basically it's a subscription license or a one-time license. The one-time is very pricey. Subscription is a little bit cheaper, but you're paying it every year. So we give you 50% off our Sapphire, which is a huge deal. In fact, speaking of bonuses, that's another great question. You also get some of the other bonuses you get in StyleCraft. You get Action VFX Footage. If you're not familiar with Action VFX, they're an amazing company. They create 2K and 4K footage for effects shots, for visual effects shots. Lots of fog and smoke and particle systems and dust and blood splats and things like that. I use some of their footage in some of the projects. And you get to use that footage. You get to download that 2K and 4K footage and use it in your projects as well that you're creating here within StyleCraft. That's a huge bonus that I'm really excited about. You also get, and speaking of that, you get project files for all the lessons I'm teaching you. So you get the finished project file, download that project file, you get all the design assets with the project file. And so you can see how I built it. You can tear it apart. You can rebuild it. It's up to you. Another bonus, you get AE Scripts. AE Scripts gives you access to their educational discounts. So they have a huge list of products, of scripts and plugins that they offer educational licenses to. And as a member of StyleCraft, you get access to that. So that's a huge, huge bonus. You also get AE Juice. AE Juice creates some really awesome packs and products and courses and all that jazz. You get 30% off AE Juice. You get 35% off MrHorse.tv. Mr. Horse creates Animation Composer. If you don't use Animation Composer, you're missing out. For years, I kind of stayed away from it. And then one day I downloaded it because Animation Composer is actually free. So if you don't have it, go download it from MrHorse.tv. Download the free plugin. You're going to see how powerful it is. What I get you is, or StyleCraft gets you, is 35% off the product packs. So you can buy these packs individually to load in to the plugin. And it's awesome. It saves me so much time, especially when I was freelancing. don't write it off, man. Like the presets for Animation Composer will blow your mind. And he just keeps building more and more packs to load into these things. So cool. So much time can be saved with this plugin. You're also going to get 50% off Euchre Media. Euchre Media, these guys are my boys. They teach you expressions along with a few other things, but they're really well known for their expressions. 50% off Euchre Media. And then Effects Factory. You'll get 20% off their signature product, which is Effects Factory Pro. So those are the bonuses you get inside of StyleCraft. I'm really excited about. I mean, they save you a lot of money. So spend a little bit of money for StyleCraft, save a lot with these other plugins. Rosa Miat, hi, hello, thanks for being here. Okay, so sorry if I'm pronouncing your name, Rosa. How about Rosso? I'll call you Rosso. How to upgrade to StyleCraft 2? I'm a StyleCraft 1 subscriber. So Rosso, all you have to do is go to the page, and actually, let me post a link here. I'll pull it up really quickly. I've got web link. I'll post a link. When you go to the page, it looks like the original StyleCraft 1 page. It's not. Okay, there is the URL to sign up, and it says level 1 membership. That's totally misleading as well. People are like, well, where's level 2? Is that coming out? I'm like, no, StyleCraft is a one-time, it's a one product, right? There's not gonna be level 2, level 3. When I first created the product, I used level 1 in the name, and I had to keep it from that point on. So it just says level 1 membership. But excuse me, to upgrade, all you gotta do is click that link and sign up, and you will be in StyleCraft 2.0. Kermit and Rosa, I hope to see you in StyleCraft 2.0. Yeah, and I see you have a couple more questions, Rosso. Yeah, so just click that link, bottom of the page, or go to motionscience.tv, and at the top, you're going to see it says StyleCraft. Click there. You go to StyleCraft. You scroll down. You're going to see to sign up. And guys, you're seeing here that there's StyleCraft members from the original StyleCraft here who are wanting to upgrade to StyleCraft 2 because they know what they got in the first version was legit. Like, it's great. Which, by the way, I offer a 14-day money-back guarantee. If within 14 days you decide StyleCraft is not for you, hit me up, email me, or hit me up in the community, and I'll give you your money back. No questions asked. Kermit, in general, a lot of things I see out in the world in motion design 3D are lacking the polished element. That's exactly true, Kermit. That is why I created Motion Science. I have worked, like I said, on high-level projects through the years as a freelancer. I've been blessed enough to work a ton remotely. I also had a few opportunities to travel to New York and LA and Seattle and Chicago and work on some very high-level projects with teams, and learning from those guys as well. It's a very collaborative effort, and I've learned a lot through the years. And when it comes to polish and finishing, that's what separates a mid-level designer from a high-level designer, right? You can even jump from a I would say a beginner level to a high level with some of the techniques I teach you here. And I've seen it happen in StyleCraft 1. I've seen people come into StyleCraft with no experience, and what they create blows my mind. In fact, I had a photographer named Ryan Feigard who came into the first version of StyleCraft, never done motion design. I watched what he created, and he is now a contributing member of Motion Science, creating workshops for Motion Science. So it's amazing. One thing I'm going to mention to you guys, if you don't know After Effects or you're not very comfortable with After Effects yet, that is one thing you need to understand to get the most value out of StyleCraft. Okay, so In StyleCraft, when you go to sign up, there's a VIP package, and that VIP package includes After Effects Academy 1 and After Effects Academy 2. Okay. I'm giving you a bundled deal. So you're saving quite a bit of money on those 2 courses if you get them with StyleCraft. Get that package. You can learn everything you need to learn about After Effects Academy, After Effects through the academies, and move right into StyleCraft. And they're to the point courses, 5 hours, 5.5 hours, and 6.5 hours, I think, each course. So Mo Murdoch. Mo is a StyleCraft 1.5 member. Hey, Mo, what's going on? Mo's used to these live Q&As like this. He shows up to almost all of them. Same with Kermit. Kermit shows up to a ton of them. They ask a lot of questions. They get answers to what they're challenged with, and they continue to upgrade. Is this going to affect those still doing the old StyleCraft? No. So you have lifetime access to the original StyleCraft, Lloyd. Good to see you here, man. You have lifetime access to the original StyleCraft. If you do want to upgrade, you're going to go to motionscience.tv, click on StyleCraft. Like I said, it looks like the original StyleCraft, but it's 2.0. We have a new landing page that we are designing for future registrations. It's just not there yet, but we've updated the information for StyleCraft 2. I would love to see you in StyleCraft 2.0, Mo. Lloyd, sorry. Got Mo and Lloyd confused there for a second. Level up your skills, Lloyd. If you just want to stay in StyleCraft 1, you've got access to it. What's TV? I love manipulating photos and creating different levels, and I'm still learning After Effects and Cinema 4D to animate them. On the other hand, should I really learn Illustrator to improve myself? My opinion is no. No. Illustrator is great for certain things from the world of motion design that I teach. For example, screen graphics, right? I teach some lessons in StyleCraft 1.5 about screen graphics. And we have a workshop in ProFlows coming out about screen graphics. That's a great program to create those elements, right, that you see in screen graphics, which are like on computer monitors, things you see like in HUD displays, things like that. Illustrator is great for that. Illustrator is great for logos, for simple shapes. Like maybe if you're using shape layers in After Effects and you want a specific shape that you can't create in After Effects very easily, you can go in Illustrator and learn that. But I will say of all the programs, Illustrator is the one I use the least. And that is because I don't focus in on Illustrator like motion graphics, right? Like you see a lot. Like it drives me crazy when people are like, oh, you do, so I'm like, I do motion graphics. And people are like, oh, you do cartoons. Like, no. Which is, something that social media has really pushed. If you scroll motion graphics, the tag, you see a lot of, like I said, these vector characters running and doing things, and respect for those people. But that to me is not what I am all about with motion graphics. Motion graphics to me are, it's typography moving. It's title sequences. Like we study a lot of title sequences in StyleCraft. I think title sequences are they're very cinematic, number one. Think about how they're slow moving, typically. A lot of mood to them, a lot of moodiness, a lot of atmosphere, different things that we teach, right? So we study a lot of title sequences. And I just find that I don't need Illustrator to do very much of that. So it depends which way you want to go, WUST TV, in terms of what you want to create for your motion graphics. I would maybe learn Photoshop over Illustrator. If you follow me, I'm assuming that you're kind of drawn to the type of content I create, and it doesn't require very much Illustrator. So I've used the program for years. Can I get around it very well? No. I constantly have to like search, like how do I do this little task if I'm in it and I need to figure out something. So I would focus more on Photoshop. if you already know After Effects. Yeah. So Ed is in ProFlows, like I thought, yeah, and freelance video editor here to improve my motion design skills. I see so many video editors being asked to improve their skills with motion graphics, right? You're being asked to start creating different things for videos that you're working on. I'm seeing it a lot. People want more bang for their buck, right? So they think they can hire a video editor, and then they can also get this video editor who can do graphics at the same time. So that's what we're here for, to teach you how to do that. Let's see. Uzair says, I'm not interested in plugins. I joined to learn about the how and why about motion. Yeah. So like I said, I don't get very specific about plugins. I mean, you see me use them, but like I said, plugins are mostly for a time saver and to finish a piece off. I don't believe in ever like taking a preset out of the box of a plugin and using it. A preset's a great place to start with, and that's what I love about Sapphire, is that it's full of awesome presets for all the different effects it has. So the presets are an amazing place to start, but then you customize, right? And excuse me, my nose is itching here. Allergies. Presets are a great place to start, and then you tweak a few parameters and you make that effect your own, right? You make it that plugin do what you need it to do to have some, to make that piece your own. But you are going to learn about the how and a lot about the why in StyleCraft. Mo, have you used what you teach for films ever? I'm really getting into that kind of work. Well, I'll tell you what, Mo. So like what you're learning in StyleCraft 1.5 is, I mean, that can be applied to films. I mean, title sequences easily. You have to, just because I may not show you a specific example of like, okay, here's how to create this title sequence. You have to think about how the different elements, principles that you've learned about motion design, how can those be related to a title sequence? Right, and it's really easy to do that. I teach the same type of stuff over in ProFlows Plus, where you have to think about like even like using lights and shadows and camera moves and typography and texture. How can that be applied to a title sequence? And then just go with it. So that is something that I probably will teach more of in the future. Maybe on a specific lesson about title sequences. But I don't have a whole lot to show for that right now in terms of tutorials. FireClan, another great question. How does StyleCraft compare to something like a design degree at a university? I saw a quote from one of your students about being similar to a graduate program. Yes. Okay. So like I said, back in 2012 to 2015, 2016, somewhere right in there is a 3 or 4 year period. I was freelancing on the side, and I had started a small boutique post-production house with a buddy of mine, Chris. And we had at one point about 6 employees underneath of us. And our little post-production company, we specialized in doing like network packages. So we were building out network packages, logos and bumpers and lower thirds packages for like shows, like we did the Olympics, and we worked on some shows for NBC and the WWE Network and a musical artist, Weird Al Yankovic, like a lot of just big kind of like network, big scale projects, right? And so because we had these huge projects, we had to bring in a team of people to support us, underneath us. So my role became more of like a creative director, art director, kind of leading the project creatively. And I would have people beneath me actually, animating and things like that. And so we would interview people, bring them in the door. We'd get lots of demo reels from people. And we'd get a lot of people who were recent graduates of art universities and traditional four-year schools. And what I saw over and over again was that these people had just graduated with a degree in motion graphics or media, where they studied After Effects, and they did not know things that I thought every motion designer should start with. I mean, even some of the most basic technical things they did not understand, like with the program in After Effects or Cinema 4D. They didn't understand. They couldn't think creatively for themselves, where they'd have to be told specifically what to do. And I would look at that person and I'd feel sorry for that person, because I'm like, okay, you just spent, depending on where they went, $100,000 to $200,000 on a 4-year degree, and you don't have the necessary skills to work professionally after spending all this money to learn how to be a motion graphic artist. That's one of the big reasons I created Motion Science. And it's true that online learning is disrupting your traditional school or university, because online learning, you can take a course from me, StyleCraft 2.0, for $700. You can take all of my courses for a couple $1,000s, and you're going to know way more than you would ever learn in a 4-year program at a traditional school or an art school. And I know that for a fact. I also know that I have professors at universities in America, where I live. I also know I have some in France and Italy that are using my content as a supplement to what they teach in their programs. So they teach during the day and they say, go home, watch Motion Science, watch this course. They're using what I teach to further their students' abilities. So how does StyleCraft compare to something like a degree at a university? StyleCraft is hands down, no questions asked, 1,000 times more affordable and 1,000 times more effective in what you're going to learn and how you're going to step out and what you're going to know. If you follow what I teach you, if you take the time and you really study what I teach you and don't breeze over it thinking, oh, I already know this, really study it, finish it, go back and study it again, finish the 12-week course, build what you've built during that time, and then go back and watch the course again. I mean, you have lifetime access. Again, a university, you're paying for a specific amount of time to learn a skill, and then you're out, right? With my courses, you have lifetime access to my courses, and you can go back and relearn. I mean, I'm still learning things today. I know how to do a multitude of things in motion design, but the more I study a specific technique, the better I get at it. The more I practice a specific technique, the better I get at it. What's TV? According to what you said, motion graphics are always promoted as drawing and animation, sketching, but when we look at it, it really has nothing to do with drawing. Is that so? That's a great observation, West TV. Yeah, and you know what? I think that it's because of things like social media that, like it does drive me crazy. Like on Instagram, if I search out motion graphics, the things I see a lot of times are the same type of kind of vector animated sketch look, right? It's more challenging to type in motion graphics and see something like what I create, which is motion graphics as well. So there becomes this thought that, oh, motion graphics is only vector-based animation, and it's not, right? Step outside of social media. Look at sites like Motionographer Motionographer.com, sorry. Look at sites like that. Go to sites like Art of the Title, Art of the Style Frame. Go to studio sites that are outside of that drawing look. Go to sites like, I mean, there's 1,000 of them too. You know, there's certain ones we see all the time. But there's other channels like Territory Studios or Man vs. Machine. Watch title sequences on Netflix. Watch title sequences. One of my favorite show open sequences is for Monday Night Football for the last couple of years. I believe Man vs. Machine built it. And it looks amazing, right? And it's a lot of 3D elements. But God, I love it. Super stylized, looks dope. I really learned a lot from your channel. Thank you for your answers, by the way. Of course, man. I appreciate you being here, asking questions. I love getting asked questions. The more questions you guys ask, the more interactive I can become. When you're working on the Clint project, did you use templates or your own design? What is the Clint project? Dude, crazy. I'm not sure what you're asking, man. Working on the Clint project, did you use templates or your own design? So I'll say that the only time I ever used templates was in the last few years of my freelancing career when I was working for, I had a couple corporate clients that were very corporate. I mean, they were railroad companies and very unexciting work, but it paid really well. And there would be times like we would do like these long form videos and long form videos about railroads, right? Like not exciting stuff, right? And these projects would be like 8 weeks long, 10 weeks long. And it'd be just me basically building this stuff for an editor and a producer. And at those times, yes, I would take templates from sites like, Envato. I like Video Hive a lot. I think they have really nice templates. And what I'd love to do was bash templates, right? So I never would take just one template and just repurpose it. I would take a template here, here, and here, like 3 of them, and kind of combine them together to create a look that was still pulled from a template, but it made it a lot easier to create like corporate style graphics. So instead of me spending, 5 days thinking through and concepting lower thirds for a railroad company or a show open for a railroad company, I could literally spend an entire day and bash together these templates and change colors and type and all that stuff and get a new look that would totally work for a company. And if they didn't like it, I could go out and buy another template. So like back then, my rate was like $800 a day, 800 to 1,000 a day. And for that rate, I could spend, $800 for that day trying to design something, or I could spend $200 on some templates in a few hours and have it done. So it was just way more cost effective for corporate jobs like that. Do I recommend using templates for high level jobs? No. The templates that are out there today are amazing. There's some of them that are awesome. There's also a lot of them that are just kind of crappy. And I don't want to bash on anybody because I know it's wherever you're at in your skill set is what you're making for these templates. But you kind of have to watch what you're getting with the template. Some of them are put together pretty choppy. Some of them don't work so well. Some of them are 1,000 layers like we were talking about earlier. And they're super hard to render. And they take way too long to render when you could just, simplify. And, I don't know. Templates are a whole nother thing. Does Starcraft cover getting high ticket motion design clients? No. So that would be a course I have called the Freelance Effect. It's on motionscience.tv. Look for it under standalone courses. Freelance Effect. Freelance Effect teaches you how to go freelance, right? And with that, it teaches you how to get high level clients. I lay out the exact processes that you need to take to build up it starts with like building your brand. You have to have a brand, getting an online presence, how to approach a client. Everything I did was email based, very simple. Again, simplify. How to go after those clients, how to find those clients. then how to basically get those clients and keep those clients. So that's the freelance effect. One thing I teach a lot of as well is that when you're when we're creating motion design, we want to it's all about creating what you want more work of, right? So like when we're creating spec work, I believe in this, there's this circle, right? So you create more of the work that you want to get back. So if you're really into a certain look, certain style of motion graphics, you need to create that style. You need to include that style in your demo reel. Your demo reel goes out into the world. It could be on a YouTube site, on your website, on a different site. It could be passed around. Your reel includes work that you enjoy doing. So that reel is going to attract a client who wants that type of work, right? So they're attracted to that reel. They hire you then to create more work in that same style or that same type of work. So then you're getting paid to create that work. And it's just this endless cycle, right? Create work that you want more of. So if you want high ticket motion design clients, create high ticket motion design. Thanks for the amazing content. You are welcome, Wolfgang. Artie, does the course need to be completed as full time, or can we watch the videos in our own time in the evenings and weekends? Great question, Artie. It's up to you. You have lifetime access. If you want to take your time going through it, that is totally okay. The one thing that you're not going to get, and to some people this isn't important, but in the 12 weeks that you get once you sign up, you get live coaching calls with me just like this. And after 12 weeks, your access to the coaching calls goes away, but you can extend the coaching calls from that point on for a very small fee. And I try to make that very affordable. I'm still trying to figure out what that is, but that's the only thing you lose access to is the live coaching component with calls like this. Otherwise, take your time. If you want to spend a year going through the course, take a year. 2 years, take 2 years. Otherwise, if you want to do it in 12 weeks, that's up to you. Hellgas, really can't wait to get started. Me too. I'm excited for you guys to all start. We're going to start April 19th. April 19th. So if you sign up today, we're starting April 19th. Mo says Counterpart on Amazon and Jack Ryan Season 2 are great opening titles. I have started to really pay attention to credit sequences more and more, like the credits for 7 because of StyleCraft. Awesome, Mo. Yeah, Mo's a part of StyleCraft 1.5, and you will see that because we study so many title sequences, you start to learn, even beyond title sequences, you start to learn what works and what doesn't work in motion design, right? Why does a title sequence like Jack Ryan Season 2, why does it work? Right? And you start to understand why it works. In fact, Jack Ryan Season 2 brings up another studio to check out, Imaginary Forces, right? They did that title sequence. They do a lot of work that I totally love. Prologue Films, check them out. Amazing work. I was blessed to be able to freelance with those guys for a while. Prodigal Pictures, Danny Yount, check him out. Fireclub, my favorite opening title is from Dirty Money on Netflix. I could watch it over and over again. Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about. And I think we actually referenced that. If it's the right title sequence, is that the one with the camera and it just keeps pulling back, and there's like a dollar, there's the money in the middle of the screen the whole time? If that's the one, we talk about it in StyleCraft. We study that one. Hello, Fisheye. Who's there? Why is it 1,000 times more effective? Go back and watch the replay here. I talked about that. Love your work there. Awesome. Super cool. Thank you, Fisheye. Appreciate that. Artie, I love the Counterpart title sequence too, Mo. It really stands out. I'll have to check that one out. I don't know what that title sequence is. But Mo has some good recommendations, so I'll have to check that out. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys a little bit more about StyleCraft, since we're out of questions. If you have a question, feel free to ask. I'll be on here for a few more minutes. What do we do in StyleCraft? I teach you how to design beautiful style frames. We create high-level style frames. I show you how the process is easier than you may think. Like I said, it's all about the ease. I teach you the right methods, the right techniques. We animate with cinematic motion. I'm all about animating with cinematic motion. Sometimes I see motion designers do some crazy camera moves, flying around like, look at me, I know how to use a camera, right? We use a lot with the 3D camera. And that's not what I'm about. Cinematic motion moves. Look at title sequences again. You see them everywhere. Understand what it takes to build cinematic motion design. It's beautiful to watch. We also master After Effects and Cinema 4D Lite. We build powerful, beautiful motion design with confidence. I teach you how to think like a master, so you can gain the knowledge you need to master the processes of motion design. There's over 70 lessons, 70 to the point edited lessons. Really proud of all of them. There's 12 weeks of video lesson training. There's project files, design assets. There's lifetime access to the course. You also get live coaching calls with me to help you conquer your biggest struggles. So I am here on these calls to really help you with what you're struggling with, so I can help you just guide you through that and help you get the answers you need to move on and continue to build on your skill set. And there's a private community of like-minded visual creators. And this community has been designed to help you break through your plateau, to grow your skills, all without having to feel like you're alone, right? So once you're in this community, you're in it for life as well. What else can I tell you about StyleCraft 2? Registration closes April 18th. There's 3 different payment options. We have a payment plan, which is 2 payments, $379 each. And it's once you make the payment, the next payment comes out 30 days later. We have the 1 payment, which is the most affordable. It's $697. And then we have a VIP plan that includes everything you get with the first 2 packages, which is like the bonuses and all that stuff that we talked about earlier. Plus you get AE Academy Volume 1 and Volume 2, and you get the texture pack bundle. So if you don't know what the texture pack bundle is, it is Motion Science has got some different texture packs we've released over the last last year and a half, 2 years. Texture packs are awesome because they include all these elements that you can use in your motion design to really like up level it again. And you'll see that I use a lot of texture in my work, and you'll learn that you'll learn as well how much you love texture in motion design. It helps really bring another level to your pieces. So that's what I got on that. Actually, let me show you guys. Maybe I'll show you a sneak peek here of what the course looks like. Let me pull it up here really quick. So you guys should be able to see it. So here we are inside of StyleCraft 2. As you can see, the course begins April 19th. In this course, you'll learn how to master cinematic motion design. Video lessons are released every 3 to 4 days. You get a notification via email each time a new set of lessons is available. Follow the order of lessons as it's laid out from you, which is here, left to right, top to bottom. That is because these lessons build on each other. As you move through StyleCraft, you will see that each lesson is building on the last set of lessons. So that's why it's so important that you really take in each set of lessons, because you could get, further down the course here, like the negative space, and be like, wait, how come I don't understand how to use this other principle that he's talking about? That's because I talked about it, up in here. So you need to really just go through the lessons as they're laid out for you. You don't need the exact plugins used in the lessons. We talked about that earlier. They can be substitute for any third-party plugin or the plugins built into After Effects. And there's access to the community up here. You can join the community, which I'll show you that in just a second. And then again, once you click on like texture, you'll see that inside of texture, there's actually multiple lessons here. So depending on what the category is, depends on how many lessons there are. So there's the study of texture. Every lesson we study examples And that's where we talk about the why something works and why it doesn't. We go into some lessons about creating moving texture, using textures with logos, more advanced textures, and then some action steps for you. You can also click over here and you can see the bonuses are laid out here, but you can also go into like specific lessons and you can click through them this way and find them, all that good stuff. So that is a very brief rundown of what the inside the course looks like. And then over here, this is the community, and we've got different categories of community. We've got, say hello, introduce yourself, put your demo reel up here, conversations, if you just want to talk about things. If you have questions, you can ask for help, show and tell, where we can show off what we're working on, and then coaching and replays. So this is the part here that I talked about that you have 12 weeks of access to. After that, you can extend it. And that's to get calls like what we're doing right now. But they're private calls. They're not open to everybody. We also have a resources tab for audio, visual, software, and inspiration. So this is where we're posting links to software or visual sites to get assets, things like that. There's different links here to different types of places where you can get special deals as well. So that's basically it. And then what's also awesome about this community is you can see actually who's online, and you can actually have direct chats with those people in the community. So you don't have to rely on email. You can have conversations here within the community that are private. And this community, like I said, this is all me right now because it's not, it hasn't been opened up to everybody yet. So as soon as you join, you will get access to this and start interacting. So that's a brief little overview of what the course looks like in the community. I've got a few more questions here. Uzera says, this isn't really relevant to StyleCraft, but I was wondering what your thoughts on NFTs are. How will they change the motion graphics industry? All my buddies have jumped on NFTs. I haven't. It's hard to say. I don't know if it's a fad. I don't think it's a fad. I think it's here to stay. But I do think the prices will go down. The prices are like crazy high right now, what people pay. I also have reservations about who is actually buying the rights to these digital assets. And when someone's throwing out, $500,000 or $100,000 or $1 million, whatever it is, to an artist, my artist friends, they're jumping all over. They're just like, oh my God, my life's changed. I can't believe this. And it's great. I'm happy for them. But I do wonder, who is paying these outrageous amounts of money for this artwork, and what are they going to do with it? Right. So I haven't jumped on it. I also haven't had a lot of time to jump on it, to build things, to try and sell. And my friends who have gotten involved with it, it's like they're obsessed with it, and that's all they're doing, right? So I don't know. And I know there's a big, I'm not a huge environmentalist, but I know that there's a huge factor in here of how much energy these graphics cards are burning through to create all of this stuff. Now, I do invest in cryptocurrency, so I guess I can slap my own wrist for that one, because I do think it's where it's going. But I haven't jumped into NFTs enough to really have a solid understanding of it. I'm in a couple groups with some very high level artists who are selling this stuff for a lot of money. I don't know. Not for me at the moment. Awesome. West TV. I was just reading your comments. Okay, which laptop do you prefer for 3D and 2.5D motion graphics? I have a MacBook Pro. I'm an Apple guy, so everything I use is Apple based. 3D, it's the same thing. I've always had a hard time with Cinema 4D because I'm on an iMac Pro, or not a Pro. I'm on an iMac 5K. And I've been holding out for the new Apple silicon chips to come to the iMac And it sounds like an iMac Pro is going to be re-released this year with that chip. And then now Octane and Redshift are on the Mac all of a sudden. And they've held off for years. A lot of my friends on the Apple side have switched to PC because of the 3D side. I've resisted. So in terms of laptop, I just use a MacBook Pro. And it works awesome for After Effects, for 2.5D. I do a ton of 2.5D work. My iMac 5K works amazing for After Effects. With After Effects, it's more about the RAM at this point. So I've got 64 gigs of RAM on this machine. I wish I had 128 gigs. Next computer I buy will have 128 gigs of RAM on it to really make it run even smoother. And then I'm really excited to see what the M1 chips or the M2, the next version, how, because they have a graphics card basically built into them. Or they're going to release their own separate graphics card through Apple. So I'm an Apple guy, can't speak to the PC side. That's what I got. So, guys, that's what I got for you guys today. Hopefully, I'll see a few of you guys sign up for StyleCraft. I would love to see you in the course. As I said, registration's open right now. It closes April 18th. The course starts April 19th. No guarantees that the next time it opens, the price isn't going to be higher. I don't want to freak you out, but something that we're considering. And no guarantees of when the next registration is going to open. We will see. That's what I got. If you missed any of this video, please go back and watch it. I had a lot of information in this video. I may do another live Q&A later this week or sometime next week. We'll see. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Hope to see a lot of you guys in StyleCraft. Until next time, my name is Cameron, and thanks for watching. This is Motion Science. See ya.